Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a tier list of every single commercial aircraft currently in service. Now, starting here at the 737 NG, I think it's a pretty good plane, probably around the C tier mark. Overall, it's a fine plane, it looks nice and gets the job done. Next, we have Airbus's version of the 737, the A320, which is pretty similar, but overall just slightly better, so I'm going to give it a B. Now here we've got the A220, which is a small regional jet which has only been out for a few years. Now overall, this plane is very fuel efficient and very good, so I'm going to give it an A. Now the 737 Classic is a very weird plane. Now the plane itself is, the fuselage is very short, and the plane is also very fuel inefficient, so I'm going to give it a D. Now next here we've got the 737 MAX, which I'm going to give a C. Now unfortunately this plane has had 2 crashes and has been pulled out of service. Now the A320neo is basically like the A320ceo but with much better engines, and unlike the 737 MAX it hasn't had any crashes. Overall this plane is really good and I'm very excited to fly on it. Now the 757 is the longest narrow-body plane. It has about 240 seats, which is quite a lot. Now this plane takes a very long time to board. It also performs horribly during turbulence, and it even has a higher chance of tail striking during takeoff compared to other planes. But other than that, it's a great plane, so I'm going to give it a B. Now the 717 was originally owned by McDonnell Douglas instead of Boeing. Now overall, this plane's it's a pretty good regional plane, although it is quite weird looking and very old, so I'm going to give it a C. Now this next plane is a more uncommon one, which only recently just entered commercial service. It is the Comac C919. Now this plane is very similar to the 737 and A320. It is exactly the same size, but overall it's more fuel efficient and it's a really, really good plane that I hope to fly on sometime soon. Overall, I think it's an A. Now, to kick off the wide bodies, we have the Boeing 767. Now, this plane is quite similar to the 777, just a bit shorter. Overall, I think the plane is quite good, but not superb. I'm going to give it a B. Now, next here, we have the Airbus A330. Now, this plane is Airbus equivalent of the 777, but the engines are not that big on this plane. But other than that, I think it's a good plane, so I'm going to give it a C. Now, the A330ceo might not be great, but the A330neo is incredible. It has much better and bigger engines. It's got a different wing design, and overall, it's a much, much nicer plane. I'm going to give it an A. Now, next here we have the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. Now, this plane is very, very good. It's extremely fuel efficient. It has a wonderful composite design, and even cool dimming windows and reduced turbulence as well. So I think this plane deserves an S. Now our next plane here is the Airbus A350, which is exactly like the Dreamliner, but with Boeing. Now overall, this plane is the quietest cabin, with a cabin noise of an average of about 50, which is less than a conversation normally. So this plane is really good. Now, the A340 is the unluckiest plane in that it's a 4-engine plane, and it was produced just when twin-engine planes were able to cross big oceans. So this plane is quite unlucky, but overall, it's not a good plane. It's extremely inefficient. It has tiny engines for some reason, and is overall just not good. So I think I'm going to give it an F. Now finally, we have the king of the sky, the Airbus A380. Now this plane has a few difficulties due to its size, in that there are many airports which are inaccessible, but the plane provides a new level of comfort that has never ever been seen before, and India might actually be able to save it by placing a large order of A380s. So hopefully this plane can live on. Now here we have the queen of the skies, the 747. Now, this plane is very similar to the A380. It's slightly smaller, and the front of it is really weird. Now, unfortunately, this plane is being phased out, and the last one was produced only a week ago, delivered to Atlas Air as a cargo plane. Now, this plane will absolutely be missed. Now, the 777 is a pretty good plane. It is quite old, actually. It's been in commercial service for quite a while, and it's being now replaced with a new plane called the 777X. Overall, I think the plane is quite good, but the 777X is much superior. Now here finally we have the 777X. Now with engines wider than a 737 fuselage and folding wingtips, this plane is absolutely incredible, and I'm so excited to fly on it and see what it brings.